This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your host, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
You boys ready to party in Toledo or what?
After four more wins, yeah.
Heck yeah, man.
Canada.
Oh, God, Nick, you're not going to Canada by yourself. That's a recipe for disaster.
You'll be there in spirit. Actually, I think Elaine is going to go with me because I think she can speak French.
Will she at least show you how to plug in the mics so it's not like the first interview of the season?
Yeah, we can work on that. I think.
Okay.
I think we can between the two of us. Who am I kidding? We're not going to be able to figure it out.
Oh, welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, your source for everything Grand Rapids Griffins and Toledo Walleye hockey. I am one of your hosts, Brandon.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Travis.
Welcome back to the Chaos, and welcome to our Kelly Cup final preview. We finally know who the Toledo Walleye are going to be taking on in the Kelly Cup final. It's going to be Three Rivers or Trois-Rivières. Right, yeah, whatever how you say it in French. Sorry, I know I butchered that, but I tried at least. They're taking on Three Rivers Lions. And it's going to be an interesting series. Well, congrats to Three Rivers for dethroning Florida and not giving them an opportunity to go for another Kelly Cup. So I think the whole ECHL thanks them from that. And that's about the only kudos they're going to get from me for at least 7 more games potentially here. I will give them no more credit and no more cheers there. But I'm ready to talk about this because this series could shape up to be something really interesting based on what we were looking at and kind of going over the stats between the two teams, comparing them. And it's kind of nice to see a different team come to town, isn't it, Travis?
Yeah, that's the fun part of the final, right? You generally don't play out of division a ton in this league, and you know you're going to be out of division and out of conference. So it's going to be a very exciting matchup. I think the city is already ready. If you look at the available tickets, there's basically none left.
Yeah, or the price of some of them being sold third party already. Good night, man. This is crazy. The city's ready. They've been wanting this, waiting for this, and they're going to come out and show up in a big way, I have a feeling. I'm excited because I will be at game 1 for sure with Nick here as well coming down with me. And, you know, if the series goes 6 or 7, I will be basically a Toledo resident for a week straight. So we will.
My house.
yeah, it'll be a good time. We'll figure out the logistics of that, but I'm super stoked to talk about this and just get to experience this. I know what the fans have brought so far in the playoffs, and I can only imagine what level they're going to take it to in the final. But let's dive into this, Trav. Let's hit some of the quick notes here before we really dive in and start comparing these two teams. What do you got for us in this one?
So obviously the big one is Toledo's still searching for their first Kelly Cup since the team's inception, and looking to end a 31-year drought and bring what would be the 12th championship back to Toledo. It'll be the Walleye's third chance at this, obviously losing in 19 and 22. I think the biggest question is, will the third time be the charm, right? That's kind of one of the sayings in life, all third time's the charm, and we're going to find out. For the Lions, I mean, it's kind of like the biggest turnaround you could ever have, right? Like going from almost folded last year to now you're in the Kelly Cup final and you're 4 wins away from winning a championship, when a year ago at this time you didn't really know what was going on.
Yeah, that's wild to me that's this turnaround that they've had, and credit to them. But at the same time, like, that's just, I can't really fathom that as a fan of the team. I'm like, what a roller coaster of emotions you're going to go through right there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And again, they're going for their first championship, and it's going to be really interesting too that the first all-time meeting between these two teams is on Saturday night. You know, they've never played each other, and they're scheduled to play again 3 more times next year. So you look at the next, calendar year's worth of hockey for these two, you could have a possibility of 10 times you're going to play each other out of division. Like, that doesn't happen very often.
No, it makes it more fun.
A little rivalry, maybe some carryover.
It's very possible. I mean, anything can happen, right? And well, if you look at the splits, I mean, they're 6-1 or 6-2 at home and 6-1 on the road. So it's going to be very interesting. Pretty good balance, right? They've won 6 at home and they've won 6 on the road. They've been pretty good at home all year and on the road all year. You look at the Lions; they're 12-4 this postseason, 5-3 at home, and 7-1 on the road. So both teams. I mean, one's lost 4 games and one's lost 3. You don't get to this point. Most teams aren't going to have 7-game series to the finals. So you're going to be playing a tough opponent. And then the last note that I had, according to the Daily Report, they had 8 rookies marked for Toledo and 10 for the Lions. So it's kind of just your little rundown on the two teams.
That's kind of crazy to have that many rookies, right?
Well, it just shows that the league's advancing into a younger stage, right? Getting more kids in and development, and it's a developmental league, so just part of the process.
I mean, all season for the Griffins, we talked about how much experience helps lead teams, and here we are on the opposite end with all these rookies in this game.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of rookies, but at the same time, if you look at some of the names that Toledo's got, like Hawkins has been there and done that. Speed just played in the AHL. Smerrick's played in the ECHL for a while. There's Craggs. He's approaching veteran status at this point. Keenan. So, you've got a lot of guys that have played a lot of games. Bliss. It just goes on and on. I'd say it's very interesting that there's going to be 18 rookies playing on the ice. That is an interesting piece for sure. But it's a cool thing for development, right?
Oh, for
It
sure.
is a cool thing for development, big time, and it's exciting to see this league grow and get more exciting like this. The one thing that's really interesting to me when I look at that, their last series, right, playing Florida, and we talk about their record on the road, record at home. The 2 losses the Lions had were at home in that series, so that's interesting. And the other thing I look at it too, and look at the crowd size when you look at being in Three Rivers there. It's nothing like what they're about to experience in Toledo, my man. This is with 4,000 in attendance one game and 2,000 the next night.
Jeez.
That's hilarious. I just think it's funny that you call them Three Rivers.
Would you like me to continue the French pronunciation for the rest of the episode? I can, but it's your edit, not mine.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm in favor for that.
I just think it's funny. It's just the easiest thing to say.
I mean, it is the American pronunciation of the team. It really is. So,
and one thing with that too is you look at that last series, they lost 2 at home, but they literally stole the first 2 games of that series in Florida. I mean, take it to the bank. They robbed the bank, as Pat said after the one game that Toledo played in Fort Wayne. They were outshot by virtually 20 in the first 2 games each, and won both of them by 1 goal. So Johnson got outdueled basically by just very few shots. I just don't think Cam Johnson was the same Cam Johnson that Florida's had for the last 3.5 years, almost 4 years now. I just, especially watching the game last night, you could just tell something was off. And I mean, that's a credit to Florida, right? I think we got to give them their flowers. 3 straight championships. You're in the conference finals for a 4th straight year. You go 6 games. For the guys that have been there for, maybe 2 or 3 or even 4, that's a lot of hockey. When you're playing into June that many years in a row, eventually it's going to catch up to you. It's just the nature of the beast. And I just want to give them their flowers because, listen, that's a hell of a run that if it's ever up, duplicated, I don't think we're going to see a run like that again for a very, very long time. I mean, look at in the NHL, the last team, the only team that I can think of is the Islanders.
Yeah.
In the 80s. And that's, I hate to say it, but that's 40 years ago?
Oof. Oof. Yeah, it was an impressive run, man. And it's still, technically it still is an impressive run, right? They made it to the conference finals again this year, and who knows what they'll do next year. But it is just nice to see a new team playing and representing the Eastern Conference in the final. I will say that.
It's interesting too because the AHL, Hershey got eliminated. They were back to back as well, and then you've got Florida out in the ECHL, and I think we'll probably end up seeing a repeat of last year's final here in the NHL.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how that works, but at least, there's some new teams at the minor league level, playing ball and getting into the finals there. So I will take that. it's going to be fun. Let's talk about kind of what these guys look like head to head here. Like, what's the matchups look like? What are we talking? Penalty kill, power play. Like, what's the head to head matchup breakdown?
So, I mean, if you look at the head to head, like this is all postseason statistics, right? So if you look at the power play, like Toledo's at 20.4%, the Lions are at 16.4. Advantage Toledo there. You buy about 4%, so literally on the number basically. So you go to the PK, you're going to be at 77.8 for the Walleye and 79.86 for the Lions. So I don't know if you guys want to talk about special teams now, but I think the biggest thing, like looking at this, it's pretty even, right? We're a little better on the power play. They're a little better on the penalty kill. So I think it's very interesting that special teams wise, they're so close, right? But it shouldn't be that surprising at the same time because, like we just said, they're in the finals for a reason.
Yeah. I mean, the message has got to be clear here if you're the Walleye, right? Stay out of the box in the series. They can't find themselves in penalty trouble like we've seen in the past couple series with them. They've got to be disciplined and they've got to be able to just continue to keep cool heads and play their game and not get in trouble. I think staying out of the box it's an obvious key to this series, right? But it's going to be a big one in this one, I think.
It is a big piece, and you look at the power play, they got a couple goals late in that last series. I think that's going to help them. And when you're playing a new team too, like, yeah, you can watch as much film as you can, but until you kind of see it, like, there's going to be a feeling out process. And like, Pat said about playing Kansas City this year, or again, like last year, he said that maybe they took too much time trying to feel them out. So I think when you get your advantages on like the power play, you just got to take advantage. That's probably the biggest thing.
Got to capitalize on those early chances.
Yeah.
Get the momentum.
I hope the mentality stays the same where it's like, we don't need to extend that feeling out process with these guys. Just go play our game. And I think that will be the mentality, but I hope that's what's being preached with this. Just play our game. Because if this team plays their game at their best for a full 60, we've seen it multiple times in these playoffs where they just look unstoppable.
Yeah, you've seen it at points and stretches for sure. And I think that's a very good point. Like when they're on top of it, they just come in waves of 5. And that's a very daunting task to play against when you got guys collectively playing as groups of 5 out there. So that's a huge piece. Penalty minute wise, Toledo averages about 11 minutes a game. The Lions average about 14. So I would say each team's probably going to get some looks. Like, it's just part of it. You hope that the officials maybe let them play. Like, you get to this point in the year, like, the power plays and the penalty kills, they're amplified, right? Like, you get to this point in the season and it's just kind of like, okay, we got to take advantage. But at the same time, you don't want to give them opportunities. And I think the biggest thing is to just, you have to take advantage when you get them. I'm not saying they're going to score every time, but they maybe need to get one a game somewhere. Just find a way.
Yeah, even if it's, one of those shots from the point that just has eyes or one of those gritty goals in the crease. Like you just gotta find a way to try to get one of those per game because the momentum swing will be huge. So I don't know. I feel like special teams is going to play a bigger role in this than we're probably saying, but at the same time, your point on officiating, I do hope they just let them play. But I just hope it doesn't get to the extent of kind of what we saw in Game 5 against Kansas City there, because there was just a point where it was Kansas City players draped all over Walleye players. And there's taking guys out of the play. There's good hits and stuff like that. And, the little chippiness you'll get in the playoffs, but some of that stuff was starting to just get beyond ridiculous. So you hope that it doesn't end up being like that where you can't even start to set up a play because you've got 3 guys falling over each other and just hanging off each other. And then you got 2 guys on each side standing up looking at each other going, what do we do now? So I do hope we don't see much of that, but I think that was Kansas City's play style when they got desperate. And when they hit desperation mode, they couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at offensively, like goals for, goals against. Toledo's at 3.6 for goals for and 2.6 goals against. So they're averaging a goal more a game than they're letting up, basically, right? And then you look at the Lions, they're at 2.88 a game and 1.63 goals against a game. So they don't let up a lot of goals. I mean, if you look back, I mean, Florida basically got them really good in one period. Outside of that, they contained Florida pretty well. And you're just going to have to find a way, right? Hawkins said after the Fort Wayne series, we got to find a way to that goaltender. Yeah, you've probably never played against him. So after game one, you're probably going to have you're going to have more film to look at and maybe distinguish, okay, what can we do to kind of make him uncomfortable? But I think the biggest thing is just get everything to the net possible. Like, that's probably the biggest thing. And if you look at shots as a whole, Toledo averages about 29 a game, and the Lions are at 27.
Okay. So, I mean, still pretty evenly matched up there. It's kind of the same thing we looked at going into the Kansas City series where you're like, we've got to get to the goaltender. And luckily, the Walleye figured out how to do that in that series. And I think they could do that again, but it is going to be another good goaltending matchup between these two teams. And correct me if I'm wrong, the Lions roll with one goaltender while the Walleye still have continued to roll with this rotation.
Yeah, I think you're going to see the rotation stick. I mean, we can jump ahead a little bit and just go into goaltending. You brought it up. Listen, the French names I'm going to probably butcher, but I'm going with Luc Cavalin, I'm guessing is how you say it. 15 games played, a .944 save percentage with a .157 goals against average. So he's had a hell of a playoff. And the other guy, Hunter Jones, has played 2 games. He's got a .970 save percentage with a .075 goals against average. So I think goaltending is the strength of this team based off everything I've kind of looked at and watched last night. Like, yeah, Florida didn't maybe blow them away shots-wise, but they definitely had looks, and they just couldn't score, right? So hot goalies can carry you a long way in the playoffs, and it appears they've got 2 that are really humming right now. So I would expect no different that they're going to play Cavalin in all of the games unless, like, maybe they get routed one night and then they go back to the other guy. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. That's the fun part about this. Nobody really knows what to expect with them. And you look at Toledo, I mean, look, the rotation's been the same, right? Bednar, he's played 8 games, .908 save percentage, .252 goals against average. Carter Guylander's at 7 games, .902, .259. So Toledo's got roughly the same goaltending no matter who's in net statistically. Almost the exact same.
Which is a beautiful thing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, so you're getting around like a .905 save percentage and around a .255 goals against average between the two, like roughly. And the biggest question for me, do they restart the rotation or does Carter start game 1? And I was thinking about this last night. I think Jan plays game 1 because he's played every odd number game in the playoffs so far. And Carter's played every even number game in the playoffs so far. And if I know Pat, like we've got to know him this year, he's about the most superstitious guy, I feel. And I feel like he's not going to break that. Like, he's going to stay with the odds and evens, not it's Carter's turn in the rotation. I think he's going to go back to Jan in game 1.
That makes sense.
What if it goes 7? You think that it goes back to Jan in game 7?
Well, yeah, yeah.
Even no matter what Carter does game 6.
Yes.
Yeah, they won't change. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right?
They're not going to change it.
Like, look, both of these goaltenders have done their job exceptionally in these playoffs. They've gone out there and given these guys a chance to win and win big every single night. Have they been perfect? No, but no goaltender's gonna be perfect in the playoffs.
This guy's pretty good, though.
It's really, really crazy to see this rotation work as well as it had. And I mean, we've seen it in years past with the Walleye doing this, and I don't think we've ever seen one this consistent of a rotation, at least with performance, I should say.
Well, if you think back last year, they went to Letherman back-to-back out in Kansas City. That was the only time they kind of veered away from the rotation. And I just don't think you see it this year. Like, I think both goalies are really comfortable. I think everything's just humming along. They're playing well in front of both for the most part. Obviously, there have been a couple clinkers in there. But, like, as a whole, goaltending's been solid. I wouldn't say it's been the strength. Like, it's been good. It hasn't been like all worldly. Like you're
like Cavalin.
Yeah, and you're not getting like LaFontaine numbers and Cam Johnson numbers and Kavlin numbers, but you're getting consistent starts where they're giving you chances to win every single night. And most of the time, that is not the reason they've lost games. Like, I can't even point out a night where they lost of the 3 losses they have and be like, yeah, that's solely on goaltending, because that's not the case. Like, goaltending has been fine.
Yeah. No, I 100% agree with it. And it's been interesting to look at where we look at these previews before each series and we're like, these goaltenders have these crazy numbers that we're facing, and then we face them and this team just finds a way to score on these goalies. I mean, LaFontaine, his blocker was Swiss cheese, let's be real. But at the same time, the Walleye have figured out how to overcome these red hot goalies coming into these situations.
Yeah, just ask Nathan Day in the first round.
Yeah,
I mean, that guy came in hot, and then he didn't play a game after, did he? It was just a one game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just the one game against Toledo. You got game 1, and they got him for 5, and that was enough of that.
And then LaFontaine, you get him, and they crushed him. So, I mean, I think that really the story, like, I don't think special teams is going to play a whole lot into this because they're so close. I think this goalie, like, if they can figure out this goalie and they can crack him first and, like, early and get to him, I think that's really going to be the storyline of this, because this guy is playing incredible playoff high. This reminds me of, like, J.S. Shagir back in the day when he played for Anaheim, and he got that team. It was like a Cinderella story, getting the Ducks all the way to the finals. That's kind of how this guy's playing for you, you older Red Wings fans that are paying attention here. I mean, he's carrying this team. It's a Cinderella run for this team. It's a good story. This goalie's going, but I think Toledo can figure him out. I mean, this is where it's going to come down to is the offense that we have.
Well, it comes down to also making him uncomfortable. And unfortunately for him, the first game of the series is a Saturday night in Toledo.
Yeah.
Like, if there's a way to rattle a goalie's confidence, it's put him in net for game 1 on a Saturday in Toledo. Like, that place the fans are going to do a good enough job on their own, hopefully, to make this kid uncomfortable. The team's just got to follow suit and do the same thing. And that's kind of exactly what we saw with Day when he came in. Like, he was rattled in the bank tank. Rattled.
He was, and they're going to be here, like, which we'll get into the fans like when we kind of go over the schedule a little bit more.
Yeah, let's hit a quick ad break. When we come back, we'll go over the key performers, schedule, and who we think is going to be the shining star for the Walleye in this final round.
This NHL season has been as predictable as a puck rolling on its edge. No one knows where it's going, but that just means there's time for your favorite team to figure things out. A game's left for you to get in the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. It's super easy for first-timers to get started. Try betting on something simple like picking a team to win. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, select your team, and place your first bet. And if you're new to DraftKings, listen up. New customers bet $5 to get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
And we're back. All right, let's talk about these key performers for both teams and how they've performed so far in the Kelly Cup playoffs.
Yeah, so with the Lions, you got Alex Bucage.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure. And I'll tell you this, I am going to gain so much respect for Bob and Matt in this series, having to call these names. Like, these guys are going to have their work cut out for them. So a credit to them before this even gets started. But Alex Bucage has 16 games played. He's got 14 points, 9 goals. So he's kind of been their big goal scorer. You got Anthony Biogard, 16 games played, 8 goals, 6 assists, 14 points. Xavier Cormier? I don't know.
I say Cormier. Cormier is probably the right pronunciation.
That's what I thought, Cormier. So 16 games played, 1 goal, 12 assists for 13 points. So he's kind of like the setup guy. I think so. I see that number, and what kind of comes to mind is like he's kind of like their Brandon Cruz.
Yeah.
maybe high assists, maybe doesn't score a ton of goals, but makes key plays, like setting up big plays. That's kind of what kind of came to my mind there. And then you got Chris Jandrick, 16 games played, 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points, kind of like more similar, like not a lot of goals, more assists. And then the other thing too is like the Lions, they have 3 players with 5 or more goals and 14 players with at least 1 goal. So
Wow.
It's just kind of where you're at with them. And then just to throw this in here, because, we talked about special teams a little bit, players with the most penalty minutes, Morgan Adams Moisen? I don't know. 34 penalty minutes. Jake Novak, 26 penalty minutes. And Logan Niehoff.
I think you got that one.
25 penalty minutes. So that's kind of a rundown for them of like, their big name players as well as their like, I don't know, shit stirrers, basically.
So fans, remember those last 3 names, and those are the ones you want to get really going on the ice. Like those are your targets right there, fans.
To transition into Toledo, Brandon Hawkins, 15 games played, 5 goals, 17 assists, 22 points. Trenton Bliss, 15 games played, 8 goals, 12 assists, 20 points. Jalen Smerrick, 15 games played, 3 goals, 9 assists, 12 points. Colby Ambrosio, 15 games played, 4 goals, 7 assists, 11 points. And Mitchell Lewandowski with 12 games played has 5 goals, 6 assists, 11 points. Obviously, he's the big one. They're getting him back for the final. That's
huge.
Yeah, very big, right? You add pretty much an elite player at this level. I mean, it's pretty fair comparison to say that. He's a big game player for them. To get him back into the lineup's huge. But a credit to Hillman. He came in and filled in perfectly. I mean, it changed the dynamic of the lineup a little bit with moving Gallant up. I think Gallant will slot back down with Keenan and Moskal would be my guess. Hard to say, right? But
yeah.
I just wanted to give him some flowers. I thought he filled in great. Obviously, you hate to take a guy out that's been playing fine, but when you can add a guy like Louis back in, it's just kind of like the rich get richer.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Toledo's got 6 guys with at least 5 goals and 15 players with at least a goal in the playoffs. So, again, you look back to they're very similar. Both teams are very similar. 14 guys with a goal versus 15 guys with a goal. So it's very interesting, right? And that's probably the big names, the big guns, obviously, offensively. Carson Bandel's got 24 penalty minutes. Jalen Smerrick has 20 penalty minutes. And then Sam Craggs and Billy Moskal both have 18. So that's kind of where we're at with
yeah, but 2 of Carson Bandel's were a joke. We know that.
Yeah. No, I know. I will say, I'll preface this with this. I basically went with double-digit points and 20-plus penalty minutes.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I just think of the 2 with Bantel, with him getting called for an elbow or whatever when he was being held down on the ice. Those 2 don't count.
Yeah, I mean, that's a very fair point. I'm sure he would agree with you.
I think everybody agrees with me at that one. It's, like you said, though, very similar, and it's expected when you've got 2 teams meeting up in the final. You would expect some similar stats. It shapes up for what could be a really exciting series, or, hopefully in our sake, it goes Toledo's way quicker. As much as I'd love to see them win it on home ice, if there's a chance to win it any night, you win it, right? It doesn't matter. So as much as we all want to enjoy that moment with it being on home ice, I'll take it in 5. I'll take it in 4. I don't care. So what I do want to get from you guys, though, is who do you think is going to be the standout player for this last round for the Toledo Walleye? And I'm going to go to Nick first on this one.
Oh, gosh. Why me first? All right. I think... All right, are you ready? This is going to blow you guys' mind of who I'm going to pick because it's just so under the radar. And you're going to just... The shock on your faces. I hope people are watching on YouTube. So I'm going to go with a guy that kind of underperformed last series and then really stood up and took the team on his shoulders in the last game. And I'm going to go with Mr. Brandon Hawkins. I think this guy is going to go just put it all on the line. I think he's going to carry this team. He knows how much it means to the city of Toledo. He knows how much that he needs to step up and deliver for this team, for this town, for the fans. He's been here before. He's won one. He knows what it takes. You saw last series, so you kind of struggled in the first couple games, and then that last game coming out, putting up a lot of points. I think I could go with Mr. Hawkins as the MVP in this round for
Jake's just
Toledo.
trying to earn brownie points with him at this point. Let's be real. But no, I mean, Travis and I have both said it, off air, how important it was for him to at least get that empty net goal in the last game there and to put up those big points in that. And I think what I told you when we were in Toledo, Travis, I think he's going to be like a man possessed out there. Like if you're going to talk about a guy that's going to go out and leave every ounce of his soul on the ice in this round, it is going to be him. But I feel like that'll also be the whole roster too. But we know he'll be playing with a little extra oomph in this round. But Travis, who do you got?
So I'm going with somebody kind of different. I'm going to go with Sam Craggs.
Okay.
I think he's just poised to have a big series. It's just something, there's something there, right? You think back to last year, the night he scored 3 in a row on 3 straight shots, and this year he's had plenty of opportunities. He's scored goals in the playoffs for us. He's gotten points. Maybe didn't have a ton of goals in the last round, or the round before that. I think he's got like maybe 5 goals right now. I just think something's gonna click. I feel like that second power play unit with him in the bumper is gonna find some magic in this series. That's kind of my thing, and I'm gonna go with Craggs.
I like it. I'm gonna go with Carson Bannell. Not just because I think he can score some goals, and I know he probably won't get many assists, right? That was the joke all season. He had a bunch of goals and not many assists. I think his play off the puck is going to be massive for this team with how physical and how much he can put pressure on another team and just how smart he is when he's going towards the puck, the way he can win those board battles. I think his play might go under the radar in the series, but at the same time, when you peel it back and look at the end of everything, I think he's going to play a massive role in this roster in these finals.
I like Bantle. I had him for last series. I thought things were gonna click for him. I thought Kansas City was gonna be a little bit more physical too, and so I thought that was gonna be more of his style and where he needed to step up. But this Three Rivers team is a little bit more physical, so maybe this gives him an opportunity to showcase what he does best, is throwing the body and dropping some bombs.
What I love about him so far is what he's developed into is he can be that shit stirrer on this team, but the shoves will go back and forth, but as soon as it looks like it's the point where they might call a penalty, he just backs off and smiles and takes the couple of hits here and there and draws a penalty. And that's kind of the behavior you need out there in a final like that, to go out there and kind of stir things up, get the boys going. But I think with what I saw from him, because maybe he didn't put up a bunch of points last round or whatever, but just that off the puck play blew my mind every time watching what he was doing. Sometimes he can overcommit and overskate a little bit, gets a little too excited once the wheels get moving. But at the same time, I think he's going to be a very, very important piece of this roster in this round.
I think all are great options. I think any player, I just think the entire team is going to show up and be ready. Like, I think this is a very different feeling than the last time they've gone into the last 2 finals. Like, yeah. 19, it felt like we were going up against Goliath. Like, we felt like David versus Goliath in a way. Like, that run was kind of, to me, it didn't really, it was great and it was exciting, but it, like, when you looked at that roster and you seen, like, practically I think it was like 15 American League contracts on that team, you just kind of felt like Cinderella that year. And then in 22, like, that team was so stacked, and the way that they got there coming back and the way they clinched the West Final coming from 4-0 down and Utah to winning in double overtime or whatever it was with Martinet scoring. And then you get to the final and then you just basically get run out of your home building. And then you get a game down there and then you have this meltdown in game 4 and then you lose it in game 5. And it was just like, that one was probably disappointing. The first one was more like excitement. The 22 one was more disappointing. And I think this year is just, it's just a different vibe. Feels like this team just it won't be denied.
Do you feel like we're
Yeah.
David in this scenario?
I don't know, man. I don't know
Or are
enough
we-
about this team to tell you. But there's one factor I want to point out. How many times this year in post-game interviews did they say 1 point is going to make a difference somewhere in the standings? Guys, they had one more point than the Lions. That determined home ice. Nick, you laugh. Like, I'm serious.
That was said a lot.
It was all year. Like, the nights that we'd be down 3 goals, come back and tie it, but you lose in overtime or lose in a shootout. That happened multiple times. And the answer was huge to get just the 1 point. Like, at some point this year, we don't know when, we don't know where, we don't know why, but that point is going to matter. And
That's
it
crazy. That's crazy that it came down to 1 point now.
1 point. Yeah, it was 99 to 98 points. And like, I was sitting at home the other night, I was sitting here the other night, like making the note or thinking about stuff. And I looked last night and I'm like, man, I didn't realize it was 1 point. And I was like sitting here thinking, and I said to Kelsey, I'm like, man, all year they said how big just getting 1 point tonight was. And we don't know when, we don't know where, and we don't know why or how, but it's going to matter. And you get to the final, and that's what determines home ice. Like, say this goes 7 games, and you get to have it at home because of 1 point in a night where you scored maybe 2 goals in the last minute and a half to tie a game that you lost in overtime. Like, I think it was the Cincinnati game. Like, that sticks with me. And I think and I think too that the Huntington Center alone is going to win them 1 game.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because what you said, Brandon, you were looking at the attendance for the last series.
Yeah, for the Lions, they had 4,000 in attendance one night and 2,000 another night. Like I said, they're in for a shock when they see not just one, how many people are going to show up for these games in Toledo, but two, just how freaking wild this fan base is and how into it they are. Like, this team is not going up against the other guys on the ice. They're going up against those guys on the ice and 8,600 crazed fans that are going to be basically foaming at the mouth every freaking night for this thing to end. Like, it's going to be insane. Like, I've said it time and time again. I've probably already said it once in this episode. These fans are different. It's special down there, and they show up in ways that blow my mind every single time I step foot in that building. And I cannot wait to see what level they take it to for a final. Like, I know, Travis, you mentioned, a previous final is like in your top 3 best games you've ever been to in person.
Yeah,
that says something.
The night they won Game 5 at home was to not have Newfoundland parade the cup around the Huntington Center. That was one of the craziest nights I think I've ever been in a hockey arena. Like, it was just nuts. And I can't wait for Saturday night. Like, it's so special. Like, you guys are going to see, like, you guys have seen the Calder Cup final, but, like, well, Brandon has. Nick, you shake your head. Like, Brandon's been there and seen it.
I wasn't there.
I was not in the building during the final for Grand Rapids in both finals. Because tickets were ridiculous for what that was how many years ago. I was not making the kind of money to go to those games. Let's just say that.
You guys have seen the playoffs, though, down here. And, like, I can't even explain to you how much even crazier Saturday night's going to be. Like, you think it gets louder, and it doesn't seem possible. When you walk into that building on Saturday night, like, you're just not going to believe your eyes. Like, I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely insane.
As I say, Game 5 this Saturday already felt special when I walked in. Like, the vibe from before warm-ups to the end of the game was different. Like, it's not something I'd felt before in a hockey arena. So, like you saying this, I can only imagine what we're about to experience. Might have to take the media night off and jug beers with the fans, I think, on this one.
It's going to be special. And
it's going to be a blast.
Looking at the schedule, you get Game 1 on Saturday. Game 2's Monday night. And then the series shifts to Quebec for the next 3, next Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And Brandon's got her pulled up. And then, if necessary, I'll be back in Toledo on June 10th on a Tuesday. And Game 7 would be on a Thursday night, which, the Tuesday, Thursday kind of sucks, but we'll make do.
It ain't going to matter.
No, it's not.
That place is going to be packed out either way.
Yeah, and the article I read the other day where somebody bought tickets to game 1 for $233 or whatever it was a piece on StubHub for a $25 ticket's nuts. And then you see like game 7, the most expensive tickets listed on StubHub for $631 or something like that a piece. Like, I could not even imagine if it gets to game 7 what the secondary market's going to look like.
It's going to be stupid. I'm so glad we've thought ahead on that one.
We did?
I did for us. Don't worry.
Oh, okay.
Tickets are secured. We will be there in seats and have a good old time. But it's crazy, man. And I saw a lot of people complaining like, you know, we got home ice, but they get 2 weekend games. Again, the day of the week ain't going to matter.
No.
Not at all.
Everybody's going to be calling off Thursday or Friday
Saturday.
or Wednesday. It doesn't matter. People
Yeah.
People ain't
If
going to be going to work.
They close it out Tuesday, a lot of call-ins Wednesday. They close it out in 7 on Thursday. You might as well shut down the city. No one's going to work. It's going to be a party. And I cannot wait to celebrate it with everybody because we're, like I said, I'm staying down there. So I'll be there.
It's going to be special, guys. I can't even, like, words can't describe what the feeling you're going to get Saturday night when you walk into that building. Like, Nick, you were just at a final game, and
It was packed. It was packed.
I'm sorry, but it's
There's
not
a lot of
even.
people.
This is gonna just take that and be like, what was that? I'm telling you, dude. You might not think it's possible, but if they score early in game 1 on Saturday night, like Toledo might have a full Chernobyl meltdown.
The city or the
The entire city. Like,
It's going to be a bad night to be a beer in the city of Toledo. Maybe in the state of Ohio at that point, honestly.
it's gonna be insane. I can't even put into words how special this is, and I want to say to the fans, like, no matter what happens, win or lose, enjoy this, because there's however many other teams wish they could be here, right? And if they lose, they lose, right? And if they win, it'll be a night that lives forever for everybody, not just the players, but the fans. Like, the fans have waited a long time for this, and I can't even put into words what downtown would be like, because I wasn't even born the last time that a team won a championship down here. Like, put that in perspective. Like, you laugh, Brandon. It's just the truth.
I'm laughing just because I forget that you're younger than us.
Yeah, like, I wasn't even born yet. Like, I wasn't even a thought in my parents' minds probably at that point in life. So it's incredibly hard to get here. Just enjoy the next 2 weeks, because you truthfully never know when you're going to get back to this stage. Like, Toledo it could be 10, 15 years before they even get back. Like,
Yeah.
you talk
It
about,
won't be, but it could.
well, you hear so many NHL players in interviews be like, man, I made it to the Cup Finals a rookie, and it's like, oh, I'll be back. And I never got back. Like, that's how hard it is to get to this point, let alone win the last 4 games. Like,
well, there's a lot of rookies in this game, Trav. So I think one of them will make it back. He's like 18,
Jesus,
I think
Nick.
you said earlier.
I'm just saying, like, it's no guarantees. So just
The
enjoy
only thing
it.
I'll correct Travis on is it's all that if stuff. It's when we win it. When it happens.
Yeah.
There's no ifs around here.
On top of that, Florida did it for almost 4 years in a row. This is the start of the new dynasty, baby. This is Toledo time, man. Here we go.
I don't think the ECHL dashboard could handle Toledo winning that many cups in a row. Just sitting here thinking about it, but
I don't think Toledo bars could handle it.
dude, Toledo might run out of alcohol if they win
Yes.
this at home.
I was literally going to say that.
The hangover the next day is going to, the next day, 2 days later, because you're not going to stop the next day. You're just going to keep going. Hangover a couple days later is going to really suck, but man, is it going to be fun.
Yeah,
With that,
I think it's
go ahead.
time to put some predictions out there.
Oh, I hate
was
doing
just about to
prediction.
say
Come
that.
on.
And I'm going last.
I already know Travis's prediction, but all right, he's going last. You know what? For fun's sake, you know what, Nick, you're going first.
Damn it. All right. My prediction, I'm saying they're going Toledo in 6. I think they figure it out. I think they have too much depth. And I think they'll figure this goalie out. And I don't think Three Rivers has played a team this good, this deep, this. I mean, these guys are. It's been.
And they just beat the 3-time Cup champs. So
It's true, they did.
Yeah, but like you said, they played a lot of hockey. I don't think that was the best version of Florida, and obviously because they didn't make it this far. So I think that's why I think Toledo in 6. They're gonna win on that Tuesday night. It's gonna be perfect for me because I got Wednesday off and I can take a vacation day for Thursday, get us back. If not, then we'll be down there for you with you, Travis, and then I got to just call in on Friday as well. So I think Toledo. I think Toledo in 6. I think Hawk, Jalen. I think and Spies. I mean, the Hansen line. I'm forgetting the third guy. Who's the third guy?
How are you forgetting Bliss? He's been incredible in these playoffs. Oh my God.
Let's cut that.
He's
So
been sensational.
With the Hansen line and Smerrick, I think those guys just have they just know what's at stake. They know what's at stake here. They're gonna take over. They're gonna continue to do the things that they've done all season. They've been men on missions. Not to discredit anybody else, but those guys have been the huge parts of this team. And so I think those guys, they just run it through. It's going to be interesting. My one thing is it's going to be interesting because both teams are really good on the road. So it might be who steals home, who wins at home first kind of thing.
Walleye in 4.
holy Christ. Sweet.
Jesus. You really want to send me to Canada? I thought you liked me.
You heard it here. You know what? There's just something about me that I can't doubt anything about this team right now with what I've witnessed so far this playoff.
I wouldn't be shocked.
There's just a part of me that could see it happen.
We got
I'll
beaten
be the wild one
5
and say it.
one year. Last year, Kansas City got beaten 5. Like, let's be real. Like, half the time you get to a final, it's the worst round. Like, hockey-wise.
Yeah.
For one team.
No, well, yeah. But
So, F it. Walleye in 4.
I'm going to say 6 as well with Nick. And I think
This goalie steals a game. He has to.
I think
Doesn't have to.
I think he does.
I look at 2019 and I think it's going to be a reversal. Like, I just think that we're going to take care of home ice. We're going to get one up there. They're not going to let us win it in Quebec. And then it comes home and Toledo wins it at home. And he came back for this moment. And I think Tyler Speed just scores the game-winning goal.
I didn't know we were predicting game-winning goals. Damn.
That's just my theory.
I like it. It paints a beautiful picture.
He was here in the final once before. Didn't go his way. He went to the American League, played there for many years. Chose to come here for this moment. And I think he gets the goal. That's my prediction in 6 games at home.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that Hansen line's about to go freaking nuclear.
I think it is too.
It's going to be ridiculous.
I think they are as well. I think Hawkins getting off the schneid in game 5 against Kansas City. Look, it doesn't matter if it's an empty net. When a goal scorer sees the puck go in the net, that's the only thing they need to feel somewhat good about themselves. It doesn't matter if it's from the other end of the ice, if it's 2 feet in front of the net, if it hits him in the arm and goes in. Doesn't matter. If the puck goes in. You remember when Hawkins asked us how many shots he had one night? I think he's just going to unload this series. Like Nick said, he's just going to pour everything he's got into this. And I think this is going to be a hell of a series. I'm excited. But I think Spezia gets the game-winning goal. Even if that line goes nuclear like we think it probably will,
whether it puts up points or not, it's going to wear down the Lions. And your depth's going to come right through and be able to clean up after it. Like, it's going to be very, very fun when you look at it that way, too. Like, that line could get shut down, but they're going to drag the Lions basically to their grave as they're getting shut down if they did. So they're going to free up some space out there for those other Lions to come out there and perform as well. I think you're going to see a couple depth guys surprise you, too.
Nolan Moyle.
I was literally gonna say that's who I was gonna pick for a game-winning goal because he doesn't have any. He has no goals currently.
And I think back to like the last series, like Keenan's line got a goal here, a goal there. Like, you don't need them to score 2 or 3 apiece. You need them to get 2 or 3 in the series. Like,
yep,
that's kind of what you need. I think that's their recipe, right? Like, the big guns will do their thing, and then you just need the sprinkle in the depth.
Yep, 100%. Well, it'll be interesting to see who was right, and I hope it was me. At the same time, it's going to be fun, man. I'm so excited for this. If you're not already following us on all the social pages, make sure you are there. We'll be posting updates all throughout every single game and any post-game interviews and other content that we get while we're down there. Hopefully no videos of me falling in the back of Nick's truck after a game. That would be ideal.
Just saw those the other day.
I know you did. I know you did. There's a story there for Patreon one day. Anyways, I'm excited to share this with the fans. It's going to be a great time. And like I said, maybe I'll have to take a media night off and chug beers with the fans and party. Or after the game, you know which one I'm referencing. There'll be plenty of beers chugged with fans that I can't wait for. So I'm excited. Boys, it's time. It's time to wrap this up, and it's time to get ready to cover a final. So thank you all for tuning in. As always, though, we got to thank our sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. And when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order, and it also helps support the show. And if you're not already, head over to patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. Check out the tiers that we have over there and jump over there and support us there as well. Like we said, you get bonus content, unedited episodes, bonus episodes as well. There was one recap of a recent game that was posted on there that didn't go public for anyone else. So make sure you head over there and check out what we offer. Again, patreon.com/Hockeytown West Podcast. And join the wonderful people that are already supporting us. And those are...
We've got Randy, Alan, Derek, Elaine, Griffin, John in Florida, Lori, Michael, Tyler, Claire, and we'll probably start a GoFundMe to get my butt to Canada. So with as much as the plane tickets and everything else is, so we can continue to create
not going to Canada
great content.
You're not. Good Lord.
Travis said it was like $900.
On that note, I'm wrapping this thing up before it gets out of hand again. Everybody have a fantastic week. And as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod and your host, Nick at GR Hockey Guy and Brandon at BrandonGR Hockey.